Please don't be frozen. I'm just gonna see if it's still frozen. If it is, we'll just keep talking. Just whatever. If it doesn't get streamed, that's okay. Warning, taking too long to encode. Thank you, OBS. Okay. I think it's fine now. Well, anyways. So, yeah, definitely me getting lynched was probably where the town went astray. Even the VE lynched, I felt maybe was not as good as it could have been.
Wait, VE got lynched?
VE got lynched on day 2, that's correct. Where have you been, Matthew?
Oh, right, that's right. Oh, that was also a really bad lynch. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so too in retrospect.
Maybe that was actually the turning point.
I think it was fine that the town lynched him, though. All things considered, if you're going to lynch someone like that, it's better to do it earlier than later.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
if he was going to be kept alive, he was going to be like always on the chopping block and always a big distraction until he died.
Yeah, but okay. I just didn't think that he was that hard of a. I guess I don't know.
No, definitely.
Why was he lynched so easily? Or in your mind, like he was always going to be considered a lynch?
Because he essentially gave up and wasn't trying on the game, and he even admitted to doing so. Like Gonza really pissed him off, and so other people pissed him off too. It wasn't just Gonza. Shouldn't put all the blame on him. But so he got really demotivated, and then even posted in the thread, it was just like, I have no motivation to play this game, but I am town. And he was like totally okay with getting lynched. And so if he had been kept alive, then every day he would have been brought up again, and people would have tried to get him lynched. So if someone like that's in the game, it's same with like inactive people. It's better to lynch him sooner than later.
Did Gonzo piss him off because Gonzo thought he was Mafia, or did Gonzo just piss him off in general?
I think a little bit of both.
Because, I don't know. I guess if we were to look back retrospectively, VE could probably do... I mean, VE is kind of a weirdo, so he could probably do that as both alignments. But I would say the majority of people wouldn't do that as Mafia. And it's not because... Like, a lot of people whine about getting caught, and then they'll, like, kind of do that. Like, that would be, like, a complete rage quit. We've seen other people, like, I mean, people have done that, but I think when you have a team and like there's other people depending on you, it's probably less likely that you're gonna say like, I'm giving up off of motivation, go ahead and lynch me, because then you know you're gonna at least get shit from those guys. I mean, and like when you're town, like you don't know who your direct teammates are and you don't have a link to communication with them. So it's probably less likely to do that. So, I mean, like, I know you can't read him as town from that, but, like, I definitely wouldn't lynch somebody over that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. At the same time, though, like, if he was...
You had mislynches, I guess, but, like, at the same time, like, when you had stronger Mafia reads for sure, and he was in your, like, guaranteed town list, like, that's just...
It's definitely
from your perspective especially, right?
Right, definitely from my perspective. But as you said, like he could do that as either alignment because he is that type of player, and I think that's important to consider. Also because like if he was Mafia, then his like teammate got lynched day 1, right? Like things aren't really looking good for that Mafia team. So,
yeah.
So I mean, his demotivation could make sense as both alignments, but I think to some degree, you know, Gonza really like bullied him hard in the thread and really made him piss off. And at some point, like if you piss someone off past some certain level, then they're going to be pissed off no matter what alignment they are, and you can't really read into that. And you kind of mentioned that too.
I think once Gonza got in control of the thread, it kind of went astray too, because he got almost too big of a head from lynching Sandroba correctly.
Yeah.
When in reality, like that was a lucky lynch. I don't think that there was really any any substantial evidence that would have pushed me to lynch him over half the game at that point. right? And so like when you get a lucky lynch like that, but you think it's a skilled lynch, I mean, you basically just lynched a lurker, right? And like,
Yep.
I think that can throw things off a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Maybe he got a little bit of a big head. And the rest of his reads weren't that good either, in retrospect as well. Like, he was just after me for 2 days straight. Wasn't looking at any of the right Mafia except for Toad for a little bit.
Yeah, because once you lynch a lurker, like, Mafia's never going to defend a lurking teammate.
Yep.
Like, you couldn't defend Sandra over there, you could just want to lynch other people more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why I did say about the VE lynch that it was good that the town did it sooner and not later. Like, if he hadn't gotten lynched and, like, maybe, I don't know, Wave of Shadow, Prometheus, or myself gets lynched instead, then, like, they're probably going to kill VE at a later date, and that's going to be even worse. Because, like, since he was already dead, like, by the time me and Prometheus was getting lynched, the town was close to figuring things out, but not quite. Whereas VE, if VE was alive, they probably wouldn't have been as close. It would have probably been just a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so that probably wasn't... Yes.
Yeah, I guess the other thing would be is that, like, let's say you do lynch, I don't know, whoever else, Navi, Gonzal is likely to die still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe VE comes back after that. If he doesn't, he's probably Mafia then.
Perhaps. I'm not sure about that Gonza kill, though. I think I talked about this last time, but I thought that the Mafia was going to kill Austin. Because Gonza was not going in the right directions, and it seemed just like Mafia could just leave him alive just for him to continue, like, derailing the thread and running the train down the wrong tracks.
Sometimes you can do that better by just killing them and leaving only what they had, though.
Right. And then it's also possible they could have been scared he would eventually, like, get convinced that I was town, which was at some point looking like it was going. Yeah. At some point,
if you look at Artanis' post on Marv's thoughts, I think that he saw that being a possibility because of how strong a lot of the townies were.
Right. I think I know what post you're talking about.
It's just like a really quick post. Keep going. There it is.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Do you think we gave Marv, or the people who voted on Sandra, but too easy of a time read? Like, would we have been able to figure out if they were Mafia or not by looking at their filters? Because we kind of just wrote them off early.
The people early?
Who voted Sandra?
I think there could have been... Well, we could have gone back on Prometheus, because that's what I did. I went back and looked at his filter, and it's just like, wow, this guy is not playing. This guy's bad. Or he's Mafia. And I know he's not bad, so Mafia, essentially. But then Marv, I think so. I think, like, I was suspicious of Marv on day one. I know Gnome was suspicious too. Matthew said he was town. And
yeah,
I guess...
I was mad suspicious of him.
Yeah, I guess Marv never did really anything to, like, get rid of that suspicion for me. And so he was always in the back of my mind as being Mafia. And I think by the end when I came out, it was clear that Marv was Mafia, and I thought Prometheus was the other one. And I read Prometheus' filter first and said, okay, this guy is Mafia, and Marv is the last one.
Yeah, I want to preface that by saying that I did think that Marv was way better than me at Mafia versus my town, so you should have just taken the opposite read of whatever I said.
I'll remember that for next time we do this. But yeah, I mean, Marv did do well at, like, not being under, like, a huge amount of suspicion. He was always kind of there, but not there. And then he was always kind of, like, luring the town to do something without actually, like, telling them to do it.
How come they lynched you when it was pretty clear that Marv was whoever? It was like either Marv and Prom or Marv and you on that day.
So...
And instead they lynched you instead of Marv.
I mean, because I'd already dug myself too deep of a hole, probably, in retrospect. Like, going away from the thread for longer than I said I would wasn't good. I came back probably too late. I felt like I had to give the town, like, this huge knowledge bomb, otherwise they would kill me. So, mainly it was just, like, I forget what day it ended on. But, essentially the town was already too paranoid. And, like, Kidman even told me later that he only voted for me because confirmation bias is a very bad thing. But then, so the town was already too paranoid, and I think in retrospect, I tried to play it, like, really straight, and I probably should have, like, freaked out more that I was getting killed. It's much later, actually. Wave of Shadow also voted me for stupid reasons, because he and I were never in the thread at the same time, so I couldn't answer his questions. Here we go. And so that's...
Yeah, I mean, he was saying that all along.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, that wasn't a good reason for lynching me. And then Kidman was just kind of like on the fence. Austin believed me. Toad was Mafia, so I guess he was already on board. Well, speaking of Toad, that's something I noticed when I read his filter, but I didn't look into it or didn't think about it hard enough. Is that on the day 2 when he got replaced in the game, he came out in the thread agreeing with me on everything I was saying about the votes. That, like, the Mafia were in the group of 4 of Kidman himself, Wave of Shadow, and VE. Everyone else was town, and that I was town. And then some way through the day, he, like, changed his mind and started going hard against me. And his change of mind was, like, not really... It wasn't really a town... It came out of nowhere, essentially. I didn't really take much stock into it because he was Toad, but I probably should have. So, like, yeah, so, like, Kidman writes some stuff responding to me, and I do try to, like... I try to talk to them all. Yeah, and this is about the bait, how I try to bait Marvelocity into revealing himself. In retrospect, I think I should have freaked out more about me getting lynched. I'm very good at, like, keeping my cool in these kinds of situations, so I, like, play it really straight. And I think if I'd, like, maybe, like, freaked out more and just been like, oh my god, you guys suck, don't vote me, you can't vote me, this is bad, then maybe they wouldn't have voted me. I really don't like playing the emotional card, and I try to not do it as much as I can. That's just a personal preference to me, so I didn't...
I think that, yeah, you also didn't play enough of the bully role. I think that, or at least, I think a lot of other people got bullied quite easily.
Right, I definitely could have been more direct in, like, just, like, telling people, just, like, no, you're wrong, vote for this guy.
Like, I think that Gonzo and Wave of Shadow both really bullied their way through the thread and got the lynches that they wanted.
Right. I didn't bully her, no.
And where they probably had less reasoning, less substantial information on their side, they still got their lynches because they pushed them harder than you did. I don't know. It's one of those things where I like to just end up calling everyone else stupid.
I know how you like it.
But, like, eventually you have to be like, I don't know. Eventually you have to adapt to, like, what you need to do to win. So it's just a tough... Like, that's a weird situation. Like, if everyone had posted like you did this game, the thread would be, what, like 100 pages shorter and...
Probably, yes.
A lot more information from every person. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
I guess also not being wrong on Prometheus was definitely a killer, because if I was right on someone, or if I had, like, gone after Marvelocity, he might have been on my side. So, like, by accusing a town of being Mafia, that was already 1 vote I didn't have. And then since there's 2 other Mafia, that's already 3 votes against me. And so the only way I was getting this to work is if I convinced all other 3 people, instead. Marv's reaction around the lynch time, I felt was actually... like, this post by Marvelocity does not feel very Marvelocity-like. Maybe that's just me. I could be confirmation biasing that. So yeah, right. So it's as you said, if I had like tried to bully my way or playing some sort of other emotional card, I might have been able to survive that lynch.
It's not even emotional. Sometimes it's just like being there in the thread to have like active conversations instead of. I mean, you kind of were more concise in your posting, right? So like you didn't exactly. I mean, you started towards like day 2 and day 3 and that kind of stuff, but like just in terms of like being there to just constantly rebuttal everything with why you should be doing this, why you should be doing this, and kind of beat them over the head with it. So you don't even need to play an emotional card. You can just play like a overpowering logic card.
Yeah.
Like Gonzalo is going to be if Gonzalo gets like basically confirmed town status, which is kind of what he got this game. Like
Yep.
he's going to bully the shit out of everyone with not emotional. He's just bullying them with like just pure posting. He's going to overwhelm them basically.
Right. And then
so I think that's I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. And then on day 2, I spent a lot of time like trying to like refute the claims made against me, and like I tried arguing with Gonza, and that was just a waste of time at the end of the day. I thought I could convince him or Kidman or someone else that I was town from all of that, from being there, like showing that all their points were like definitely pretty illogical. But at the end of the day, like none of them, like I just wasted a bunch of time, and so I should have either like been more of a thread presence so I could push that, or just like gone and started hunting Mafia, which is what I did on day 3. But that probably came a day too late. Came a day too late from doing that kind of idea, or pushing that idea. So yeah. And then, so when I did drop the bomb on the town that Prometheus was Mafia, I kind of knew that I had to be right, and I felt that I was going to get lynched regardless. So I thought that if I could figure the game out, then the town could like get the last 2 lynches right and win.
Yeah, but they didn't listen to you at all today.
No, they lynched Prometheus. Mafia
Right.
They just switched last moment as a joke. The other thing is that so I posted 2 long posts, well, semi-long posts about why Kidman is town and Holy Toad was town, right? In general, posting a long analysis about why someone is town is not something you want to do. I think lots of players are in agreement on that. I did it because I felt like I had to give something more to the town than just Prometheus was Mafia, and I was running out of time. But I think generally, if you're like that sure in your heart that someone is town, you can post about it, but don't post long things about it, because I think that just, it's difficult to describe, but that kind of thing just usually ends up hurting the town more. Because if you're wrong, then, well, it'd be like this game. And then even if you're right, like people probably won't agree with you, because people are stubborn. So I probably should have just like done a case on Marv and Prometheus instead of like giving the town that. But as I said, I felt I was out of time and that I needed to give them something more than just saying why Prometheus was Mafia. So I made those posts. But yeah, so I think in general, if you want to call someone town, 2 or 3 paragraphs is sufficient. Even some link to past behavior is fine. You don't need 20 paragraphs like I did. And then part of me did feel like I should have made a case against Marv instead of Prometheus, since I was more sure about him. But there's so much good stuff about Prometheus that I had to call him Mafia. I did feel a little weird because I called him town the previous day and wrote a long post about why. Whereas Marv, the case was more like, I guess, set in stone. But that's okay. And then being inactive for parts of the thread didn't help me either.
Why did Prom like gave up on the last day?
Yeah.
That was really bad, right?
Yes, that was really bad. You should never give up, no matter what your role is. Just like always fight to the very end. Even if like even if you're Mafia and someone claims comp on you, a confirmed comp that says you're Mafia, just don't give up. It's definitely better for your play in the long run.
But also, like, does that read town on the lie? Like, it's lie low, and he just gives up. Like, Mafia's never going to do that because, well, they would do that, but
right, they could.
If they gave up, then it's like they're not going to lose. But Prometheus was going to lose if he gave up.
Right.
If he got lynched. So.
Yeah, he shouldn't have given up. I don't think you could read into that either way. Like either Town or like Town and Mafia both give up. Like VE gave up and he was Town this game, right? But then like there are games where Mafia give up because it's just like, well, I'm getting lynched and they just go AFK. I'm known for doing that when I'm Mafia.
Yeah, I do that. I may have done that. But in that case, it's like you don't make any more information.
You give up as Mafia because you don't know what to say.
Essentially.
Because you have like this like really high expectation of, like, people have a high expectation of you, and then you have to make shit up.
That's okay. I've gotten good at making shit up.
What's your record as Mafia?
For what?
TL Mafia.
For Team Liquid Mafia?
Yeah.
What's my record as Mafia?
Yeah.
I don't know, probably 40 to 50%. We could actually find out. This page might take a while to load. Hopefully I can remember all of these.
Damn.
Draw. Should have been a win. I counted as a win. Lost. Our team forfeited because I sucked. Won that game. Lost but should have won because had an AFK teammate. Don't remember that game. I got killed day 2. I didn't read the rest of the game. I don't even remember who won. Let's go find out. So yeah, not very good. Maybe even more like 33%.
Bureaucracy was the best.
That was not a good game.
Syllogism just murdered everything that game.
Also because I knew I was going to be Mafia at the start of the game, and my requests for who was going to be on my Mafia team were not obliged by Ver, and I was kind of pissed off at him for not doing that. Town won this game. Okay.
Wait, go down. Oh no, never mind. That's Decon's game. I wasn't in this game, I don't think. Was I?
I don't think you were.
Still, no, 2011.
This is before your time.
No, it wasn't. I was around at this time. I think. Let's see.
So yeah, my record on here is not that good.
My record sucks.
It's all good. It happens. I mean, 2 of these games I lost because I had an inactive teammate. Like the first Pick Your Power, we had a guaranteed win until my Mafia teammate went AFK and got mod killed for it. That's because he was the pardoner and Ace was the host of this game, and he decided that the pardoner could pardon himself. And I was a compulsive Vigi, so we had enough kill power that we were going to win the game, because if either of us got lynched on the last day, he could just pardon either himself or me, and we had enough KP to kill the rest of the town.
You didn't lose yet.
What?
Connor said he lost already. He didn't lose this game.
Oh, yes!
Oh, okay. I won this game. I vaguely remember it now.
So anyway, your game recently, you should have won, but you stink, so that's why you lost.
What, this one? Shadow Mafia?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Does anyone have any more questions about the game or about Mafia?
Nope.
Okay. Good luck in your game, sir. I will be watching.
Gee.
I'm going to turn off the stream.